I am Anusha, a breathwork facilitator, a mindfulness coach, a love, sex, and relationship coach, and a somatic therapist. Today, I'm offering you this entire course of how to bust overthinking. In my line of work, I noticed that nearly 90% of people struggle with intrusive thoughts and rumination. Procrastination also is in some ways linked to overthinking and thought paralysis. So, here I am offering you this free course so that you can come, indulge, and look into what this course has to offer you as tools, techniques to understand what rumination is. Do you actually fall under this category of rumination? And if you do, some very practical tool guides of how to bust the whole overthinking spiral, as well as practical ways of tackling overthinking when you begin to notice the spiral happening. So, this entire course is divided into categories. So, one part of it is going to have information on rumination or overthinking to understand whether what you're categorizing and labeling as rumination is really rumination. Most often, we see that we just tend to use this word as an excuse almost, that I'm just overthinking it or you're just overthinking it. But I believe personally in my line of work as well as in life, words matter. The kind of words and narratives that we tell ourselves truly deeply matters. So before you label yourself and put yourself in any category, it is necessary for you to see whether that category is real, aligned, fit for you. So even to understand whether you are an overthinker or not, it's necessary for you to understand what is the definition of overthinking, what are the characteristic signs of overthinking, what happens when you tend to spiral into overthinking, what does that look like, and if you do come into that category, then practical means of coming out of it. Because let's understand the beauty of the brain and the plasticity of our brain, that everything is trainable. If we've trained ourselves into overthinking, we can just as beautifully train ourselves out of overthinking. So, overthinking is not the be all and end all of life. So, I'm here to give you the permission to explore, to come join me on this journey as we bust overthinking and tame the mind. So let's first understand what is the definition of overthinking and what does it actually mean. So overthinking is also referred to as rumination. Most psychologists and in research, we use the term rumination more often. So, if in the rest of the course of this program, if I use the word rumination, what I'm essentially meaning is overthinking. So, what is overthinking after all? Overthinking is the act of spending way too much time in analyzing situations, memories, and people. And most often, this sort of analysis of people, situation, memory is detrimental or negative, which means more often than not, we're thinking of the worst case scenarios that can happen. Think of it like, let's break down the word itself, right? Rumination. The word rumination comes from the act of ruminants. So, who are ruminants? Ruminants are basically cows, buffaloes. You'll usually notice them chewing the cud, right? And they chew the cud because they almost have 4 chambers of stomach. So for the food to really pass out through the digestive system, it goes through 4 different chambers of digestion before it goes to the intestines. So essentially what the cow does is it eats up a whole bunch and it keeps regurgitating from its stomach and starts chewing the cud. So why is it that we call overthinking rumination? It's because if you notice how we tend to indulge in our thoughts, it's almost as if we're picking up the thoughts from the past, bringing it right back to the mouth, and we're constantly churning and chewing it. So, in other words, rumination is a method where we sit and every time we're free or we're bored or we have nothing else to do, we bring back incidents from the past, things people have told us, decisions we have to take or have taken, people, places, everything kind of, we bring it back from the past and we sit and analyze and overanalyze it, and most often it's in a negative light. So, oh, I shouldn't have done this, or probably I shouldn't have responded this way, or why did they say this to me, or what did they mean when they say this to me. So it's constantly chewing the cud of past memories, which is what is called rumination or overthinking, and it often happens in a spiral. So that's where the word rumination actually comes from. So for the rest of the duration of this course, if you see me using the word rumination, I'm referring to overthinking. They're both one and the same, they're just two words used for the same thing essentially. So, research says that about 73% of people between the age groups of 25 to 35 tend to overthink, which means that is the age group that tends to have this tendency more often. Whereas in the age groups between 45 to 55, the percentage drastically reduces down to just 53%. So it only goes to say that rumination or overthinking is also something that is more common in the age groups where you have just begun working and you're establishing yourself and you're exploring into your own individual identity, straight up till the years where you're really stabilized in your career and your life. So it's one of the most common things that most of us struggle with. The research only goes to prove that. So this is me just letting you know that if you are somebody who tends to ruminate or overthink, you are not alone. I mean, 73% of the global population within that age group is experiencing the exact same thing that you're experiencing. So now let's explore more into what are the characteristics of rumination and how do we know that we are actually ruminating.